How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another nightly review. Today I'll be going over the Golden Knights 3-2 victory over the Colorado Avalanche, and I am doing this right after the game because what a game. Screw Avs fans on Twitter. Seriously, guys. It's a game. You don't have to be so mean on Twitter. Like, seriously. I didn't do anything to you. I didn't go after you. I said Nathan MacKinnon trip Pacioretty, bro. That's all I said. His stick was in his skate, my guy. It was a trip that should have been called. And like 3 Avs fans immediately, all over me, attacked me all over Twitter. But luckily I got to give them the harsh comeback of 3-2. So yeah, yes, I waited till the game ended like a coward because I have no confidence. So with that out of the way, so let's get into this one. So same everything as last game, same lines. Notable Cody Glass and Carl Dahlstrom practiced before. One thing I forgot to mention in my last video is that Robin Leonard has been playing. Logan Thompson's been the backup, but he hasn't needed to see any action. Thank God. So let's talk about what happened in this game. So the Golden Knights came out and they dominated the Avalanche. Dominated. If you watch this game, if you didn't know what the final score was going to be, but you watched the game, I know, imagine that. You'd think, man, Golden Knights must be killing them. Imagine the Golden Knights scoring goals when they are heavily outplaying the enemy team in a playoff game. Now they did it tonight because of a certain part of the third period, but we'll get to it. So let's start. Yes, I'll be doing play-by-play. I haven't been doing that the last couple episodes, but let's do it tonight. So early in the game, Alex Pietrangelo starts the chances off. Stevenson and again Pietrangelo will be the next ones to get chances. They were matching the Stone line up with the MacKinnon line, which dominated the MacKinnon line tonight. The MacKinnon line did not really get going at all until really not a lot of this game. They did nothing 5-on-5 at all. The entire game. They did nothing. I think the MacKinnon line had 2 or 3 actual good shifts 5-on-5, but they didn't get anything going, really. So, yeah, so Landeskog would slash Pacioretty. That was a pretty legit call, okay? So I was going to count, what are the legit calls, what are the bad calls. So Theodore and Martinez would get chances later in that power play. The Golden Knights still wouldn't score on it, but it was okay at the end. The first part of it kind of sucked. So after that, the Golden Knights, there was a lot of even play after that. Really, the Golden Knights were the dominant team. Just not a lot of chances were happening. But Sakura would get a pretty big chance, and he'd miss on it. Then Rantanen would hit the side of the net because Haig was all over him. And then Carrier would get a chance. After that, Namath would interfere with Carrier, pushing him into the net. And on that power play, Pacioretty and Smith would get chances, but that would take it to the end of the first period. Shots in the first were 14-3. Notice that I didn't say a single time, other than Rantanen hitting the side of the net, the Avs generating a legitimate chance. And the Golden Knights didn't score. Okay, we're happy right now. We're happy. They won. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so in the second period, Stone would get an early chance. Then Martinez would miss on a pretty big chance. And then Fleury would have to make his first real save of the game on Tyson Jost. Then Pacioretty would get a chance. And then he'd get another big chance right in front. And then Petro would miss on a pretty good chance on the same shift. After that, Carlson would miss on a good chance. But the same shift, William Karlsson would score from Pietrangelo and Martinez. Pietrangelo had a great shift there, even though he missed on that good chance. But yeah, Karlsson gets the rebound, kicks it up to his stick, and he scores on it. Wow, isn't that great? A minute and a half later, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare and Carl Soderberg rushing in on a 3-on-2. Pietrangelo takes Bellemare, and I believe it was Martinez took another player. He was in the middle. But There was no one covering Soderberg. And so when Belmar shot the puck and Fleury let up a juicy rebound, there was no one there to defend. And Soderberg would score a minute and a half later from Belmar and Sherwood to make it 1-1. Okay. After that, Nick Waugh would hit a post, because of course he would. Then the McKinnon line would get their first legitimate shift of the game. They did nothing up to that point other than Rantanen hitting the side of the net. Then Sakura would get a pretty big chance, and then Pacioretty would crash the net. Theodore would then get a delay of game penalty. Now, I criticized Theodore for his delay of game penalty last game because he shot it out of play. He shot it out of play. In this one, he deflected it out of play. There is no way in hell that Theodore was planning on deflecting that puck out of play into the netting. There is no way. The fact that that can be called delay of game is a joke. Anyway, Fleury would stop McKinnon. That was McKinnon's first real chance of the game, but nothing would happen, and the Golden Knights would have a pretty good penalty kill. Pacioretty would then get stopped on a breakaway, and that would end the second period. That period was a little closer in the shots, even though clearly it didn't sound or feel like it. Shots were 9-8 for the Golden Knights, and they'd come out of the second period tied 1-1. After that, going into the third, Jared Bednar would scramble up the lines for Colorado. Landeskog got taken off the top line. They had Jost on the fourth line. Burakovsky got moved up to the first line. There was some line shuffling there. Landeskog. So after that, Tuch would miss on a juicy rebound. The puck was bouncing. I don't blame him for missing, but it would have been a lot better if he had actually hit it. After that, Haig would get a chance. Then there would be a huge line shuffle, or that's when I noticed the huge line shuffle for the Avs. Kolasar would get a pretty big chance after that, and then McKinnon would trip Max Pacioretty. I don't care what Avs fans say. If you put your stick in the part of a player's skate between the blade and the actual boot of the skate, that is a trip, and it should be called a trip. It's a trip. But no, it wasn't called a trip, even though the ref pulled the stick out of the skates. Bruh. Seriously. And then guess what? Nick Waugh would trip Sherwood. And that was a pretty legit call. However, how is the McKinnon not a trip? And in typical fashion, because that's how it usually goes, the Avs would score on that power play. 2-1 Rantanen from Makar and Landeskog. Because of course they'd score on that power play. Because of course, nothing nice can ever happen. I'm saying that after watching the Golden Knights win this game. Literally, they won like 15 minutes ago. Anyway, after that, McKinnon would take out Whitecloud. Initially, I thought it was a dirty hit. However, upon subsequent viewing, Whitecloud was falling, and McKinnon pushed him down. Now, I don't think McKinnon intended anything, horrible, but it was a bad result. Whitecloud went off, and it looked pretty bad. After that, Nick Waugh gets interfered with no call, because, of course, there would be no call. Then Tuch would get a chance. Then Marc-Andre Fleury would stop Carl Soderberg. Then Fleury would get run over. I want you to take a guess what happened after that. No call. Then Saad would hit a post, because of course he would. And then Tuch would get a chance, and then Whitecloud would return. And at that point, kind of seemed pretty hopeless for the Golden Knights. And then it gets good. Marchessault would get a rush. He would whiff on the initial shot. However, Grubauer would be caught out of position. Marshy's behind the net. He would shoot the puck off of Grubauer's back and into the net. And there it is, 2-2 from Smith and Haig. What a goal from Jonathan Marchessault. He seems like the guy who scores the clutch goals for the Golden Knights. I was going to do a video about the Golden Knights not being able to score clutch goals. However, after this game, I'm not going to. Listen, the last Golden Knights overtime playoff goal was in 2018 in round 2 against the Sharks. Listen, they have a problem, but we're not going to talk about it because they're gonna come back and they're gonna win the series. And I'm saying that now. And you can clip that, and yeah, I'll take a huge L if they lose. So, anyway, that little reminder was reminding me about what happened 45 seconds later, which was Max Pacioretty getting a huge deflection goal from Nick Holden and Mark Stone. Huge goal. I did not want this game to go to overtime, and the Golden Knights get the lead with only about 6 minutes to go in this game. Carlson will be the next player to get a chance after that. Then Pacioretty would get another big chance. Then Fleury would stop Nichushkin, and at that point, with about 2 minutes to go, Grubauer gets pulled. The Avs generated a pretty big scramble that looked kind of scary, although the puck seemed to be under Whitecloud the whole time. So I don't know how scary it was in reality. Then the big scary moment happened where Rantanen, all alone, gets the one-timer because that's worked out so well in the last 2 games when the Avs have an extra attacker on the ice. So Fleury robs him that time, thank God. And then the Avs take a timeout with about 45 seconds left, and the Avs, on the timeout, they win the faceoff. And I was like, oh no. But guess what happened? The Avalanche did nothing. They didn't get a shot. They put the puck out of play, actually, and there was a face-off at center ice, and they barely got the puck into the Golden Knights zone. And the clock ticked down, and it was 0, and the full house at the Fortress roared with excitement, and the Golden Knights won 3-2. Shots in the third period. Okay. 14-3 in the first. Okay. That's a pretty dominant period. 9-8. Okay, still good. You got the majority of actual chances, but, you didn't score. 18 shots against 8. 42-20 in the game. My God, they just 3 stars of the game. Marchessault, Pacioretty, and Carlson for me. Man, I love this team. I love a lot of players on it. But there's one thing that I wish, and in the last 2 games, they've been really good. The Golden Knights have played some really, really good hockey. And for the first time this season, Fleury has not been otherworldly. And he kind of needs to be the rest of the series. Because last game, the Saad goal, I'm not going to put too much on him. The second goal went off the post, but again, probably should have had that Rantanen shot in overtime. Then this game, the first, the Soderberg goal, he let it off, that juicy rebound, and then again, it's the Rantanen one-timer. Now, he made the big save on Rantanen at the end of this game, and the Avs have only scored 4 goals in the last 2 games, so, yeah. Or 5, they've scored 5 goals in the last 2 games. But, yeah, Fleury, I'm looking for a big performance from him in Game 4. Game 5 is officially happening now, thank God. And there we go. The Golden Knights have won this game. They've gotten back in the series. They're only down 2-1 now. I said that they could take both games at home. And if they do that, the series is tied. Anything can happen. So without that out of the way, if you want to get my thoughts on the game, or if you're just an angry Avs fan who wants to talk crap to me, even though I didn't really attack you, I just said Nathan McKinnon trade Max Pacioretty. That's all I said, dude. But with that out of the way, that's it for this one, guys. If you want to get my thoughts on the game during the game, you can follow me on Twitter at 2_pad. And that is it for this one, guys. I will see you next time.